Alright guys, so let's start learning about master detail flow. And what this is pretty much a new kind of way to structure the entire design of your app. Because what it is essentially a way to add a real quick menu to your app, and the menu is actually displayed differently on tablets than it is phones, because phones don't really have that much area to use. So in like 2 seconds I'll be showing you guys a quick example, but for right now, start a new project and I'll just name this like master flow. I don't know, that's good enough. So master flow, whatever. Alright, API 8 looking good. Next, and right here, instead of just adding a blank activity, scroll down to master detail flow, and this is a better little demonstration instead of me just trying to explain it. So this is what it would look like on a tablet if you're holding it sideways. Again, a list of items would always be shown on a menu on the left hand side, and whenever the user selected one of those things, then the content or whatever they were trying to view, it would appear on the right hand side. Now of course with the phone it's a little bit different, because if you always had a menu sticking on the left hand side, then you really couldn't see anything because there's not that much space. So on a phone what happens is you have a menu that kind of looks like this with a bunch of items, and the user can click one of those, and whenever they do, it transitions into just showing all the content on the full screen. And of course if they ever want to pull up the menu again, they can click back and go back to the menu. So again, a tablet always shows the menu on the left. A phone, you have to keep switching back and forth to it. Alright, so now that you know the basics of it, again select master detail flow and hit next. Ugh, got like phlegm in my throat. Actually, I'm chugging orange soda right now, so yeah, not bad, not bad. Alright, so the first thing we need to tell it is this. Alright Bucky, you're gonna have a list of items that the user can choose from. What items are these? Well, for this example, what I'm gonna do is, for the content, I'm just going to be displaying web pages because it's really easy to do, and I don't know, I just think it'll be a good demonstration. So for the object kind, I'll just write something like web page, and for the plural, I'll write web pages. And this, again, you can name it any noun that you want. This is just for naming conventions. It doesn't, affect your code at all if you name it something weird. So name it like list items, web pages, again, books if you're displaying like different books they can choose from, whatever. But anyways, I'm gonna have web pages and click finish. Alright, looking good. So as you can see, what it did already is it created a bunch of different files for us, not just one Java class and one XML layout like before. It actually created 4, it looks like. Pretty sweet. And by default we have this one right here, and this web page detail fragment popped up for us. Now another thing I want to mention is, you don't have to click this, I just want to explain something. So this 2-pane layout would be for something like a tablet. This just looks kind of weird because I'm using a phone as my example, but this left section would of course be the list, and the right area, this is actually called the details pane. So if I just call it the main area or like the details area, it's all the same thing. So again, the list in the details pane. So I just didn't want you guys to get confused with my terminology. So the first thing I actually want you guys to do before you start working on the layout or anything is go in your app, Java, under your package, you're going to find a directory called dummy. Now what this dummy is, if you expand it, you're going to see that there's one Java file in it. So just go ahead and click that, and let me drag it to the left. And as you can see by the comments, it says this is just a helper class for pretty much creating really quick templates. Essentially what this is it's just an example class, and it has some sample menu items right now. So the list just says like item 1, item 2, item 3. And of course, you would never want to use this whenever you're making a real app. Again, it has like kind of bad naming conventions and everything, but just for understanding the basics of a master detail flow, it's really good for modifying and demonstrating. So open this file, dummycontent.java, And of course, if you scroll down, you're going to see a class called dummy item right here. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to be making a list of items. Now each of those items is going to be a dummy item object. So each list is an object. Now also, each item in the list is going to have a couple properties with it. These are the default properties, but I'm going to have our list have an ID, a name, and a URL for the web page. So we can keep ID since, of course, every one of our list items is, of course, going to have an ID. And I also want public string. I'll just name this like item name. And let me just copy this. And the last thing we need is the URL, because whenever we click it, it needs to know what URL to display in the details pane, that main area. So after we created all our variables, the next thing I want to do is actually just change this little method right here. And what this is pretty much going to do is, well, I probably don't even need to explain it, but it's going to take whatever values we pass in and set it to the class variables. So I don't know, that's just normal Java stuff. So of course the ID is good. This item name, set it equal to whatever item name we pass in, and this URL, we have to set it equal to whatever URL we pass in. And of course we actually need to pass them in. Alright, looking good. Alright, so again, one last time, this class is going to be responsible for creating individual items in our list. So of course, these are the properties that each item is going to have. And right here, all we're doing is, I don't know, this just assigning the values to the variables. Normal stuff. And this last method right here, string to string, what I actually want to do is I want to return item name instead of the default content. So that's all we have to do as far as creating individual items. So now if we scroll back up, we're going to see that we got some errors right here. So again, for the example, whenever it was creating items, it just used two pieces of information, an ID and something else. I don't even remember what it was. But right now our list items are going to have three properties: an ID, a name, and a URL. So of course, if we go up here, this add item is essentially just a method that creates a new dummy item object. And we already saw whenever we created a dummy item object, that was of course a list item. Simple enough. So of course it needs three properties that we need to pass in. And let me pull up. Alright, so this is what I'm gonna do. So the first one, of course, is the ID. We'll keep that 1, 2, and 3. The second one was the name. So I'll just name this one like Bucky, and this can just be a URL to my profile. If I can get my cursor in the right place. Alright, so the next one can be it will display the forum, and the last one will display the videos page. Alright, so what is the URL to my forum? That. And let's get the URL to the videos page. Again, use any three URLs you want. You don't have to use the same ones as I am. Alright, so again, what this bit of code does is it essentially creates three sample list items, and each list item has an ID associated with it, a name, and this name is just going to be the name that appears on the list, because displaying the URL would look, I don't know, kind of stupid. And the URL, of course, is so we can pass it in and it knows what to display.